bidding, and obviously he's hopeful of getting away spades on the clubs.
Lucky that the clubs and the hearts are disposed in that way. They don't break 3-3, but West doesn't have the last trump.
They do break 3-2, David. Couldn't have asked for more.
The clubs I'm talking about.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, and Peter said it. The reason Forrester went for ace-king of hearts was that he believed that they were 3-2 with no opponents bidding. It could also be that that club was a singles, and then he didn't want to lose to West Queen if he could give partner a club rough.
He could also afford 2 heart losers as long as he could get 2 spades away.
So have you been enjoying the football, David? I think you said you have been.
Absolutely marvellous, the Brazil game. Can you believe for 2 hours they run at that speed in such a heat? I was really impressed.
Yeah, I was actually impressed with Chile also. They did a very good job, didn't they? Well, you know.
Of course,
Lottery,
wonderful.
Really. Yeah.
And they thundered that shot against the crossbar with 1 minute of extra time to go. So unlucky.
Pin there, yeah, I remember. Yeah, so was unlucky. Now, is Carol going to do anything fancy? Sorry, Peter. You would. I know you would.
Years ago in this position, people.
Come on, Peter.
I was saying years ago in this position at third seat, favourable vulnerability, that's being non-vulnerable against vulnerable, it was almost a crime to pass. I think nowadays people tend to pass more often maybe because the opponents have got better methods of defending against opening bids.
I'm asked if 1 heart is a psychic bid or just a light opening. How would you describe it, David and Peter?
I would describe that as a psych. King and 2 jacks, I think there must be limits on lightness. I mean, it would be a psych if he had 1 point, wouldn't it? So where do you draw the line? Maybe about 8 points you might describe as light, and below that as psych.
Definitely a psych for me. But
yes.
Very common.
Yes.
I mean, people don't tend to get too worried about third seat openings at this vulnerability.
Yes, I agree with both of you that it is a psych, although he actually has a heart suit, so to speak, or he has 4 cards at least. Sometimes, you know, they psych a suit they don't have in third seat. Like if he has a doubleton spade, maybe, and he goes past 1 spade.
So here, David and Roland, you would remember Adam Meredith, a bit before my time. Would this have been a 1 spade opening bid for him in the West seat?
I don't remember. I remember the name, obviously. Maybe David knows more.
No. I'm a bit insulted that he thinks he was playing well in my time. I mean, I didn't follow bridge when I was about 3 years old.
I mean, told by a spectator he liked to have honour to 3, and 10 to 3 wasn't good enough. So I was just having a bit of fun at your expense. Perhaps later on, David, I can ask you if you can name the Southampton team for next season, given that there aren't going to be many of the first team there, it appears, from last season.
Oh God, yeah, they lost 3 of their best players. Isn't that right? Lallana, Lambert, and Shaw.
Well, that was always going to happen, so. Lodgren as well is asked for a transfer.
So here I was sort of expecting 11 tricks when I saw the layout. Obviously a slightly unusual way of playing the club suit here.
Yeah, nice combination also, you know, 2 text commenters, just about perfect, Dan Neil and Bill Frisby. So we have this table well covered now, text and voice.
Sure you lads mentioned it, but I've just seen that England are in 3rd place, which is very good news for us.
I'm sure he didn't pitch a diamond there on the half. I'm sure he must have pitched a spade. Viewgraph operator.
He can't hear you, David, but you know, he will adjust eventually. You know, what we did not mention, David, is that the England women leapfrogged everyone and are now in 1st place.
Wow.
So David, did you think that you'd see the day when England were doing so well in the European Championships, having won the seniors, currently leading the ladies and 3rd in the Open?
Well, I did when I woke up this morning, but not before then.
Well, he's probably disappointed that the Open team is not in 1st place.
If the Open team finish in the first 6 places, I shall be delighted to see them again in the Bermuda Bowl. That's what I want.
Right, he did finish the club. Fine, David. Did you manage to finish your report? You didn't have much time, did you?
No, it doesn't really need to be submitted so early. I just did that to increase my chances of getting in the bulletin. But no, I only wrote up 3 hands out of 4 and didn't have time to check anything. But I've already got 1 article to go into tomorrow's bulletin, so I'll have plenty of time after this session to finish that off. I rushed out one of my reports yesterday between sessions, and that had a lot of mistakes in, sadly, which I had to correct later, so I wasn't too pleased about that. I mean, I noticed the mistakes, not them, but I just meant that I'd had to do it so hurriedly that I did make mistakes.
Now here we have an interesting hand, because you have 11 top tricks. And what about a 12th? Looks like it doesn't make a lot of difference whether you're in 6 clubs or 6 no trumps. And there's no really reverse dummy in 6 clubs, is there? Can you get a 12th trick, is the question. I don't think there's a squeeze. What about you, Peter? Can you find a 12th trick?
Not at the moment. It looks like there's only 11 tricks. I can't see any way that Claire is going to make 12.
I'm told that if you duck a heart, there's a squeeze against south. Mm,
In what suits?
That's a new one to
can't
Science, I
see
think.
that. Yeah, can't see that squeeze.
So, in the bidding here, 2 clubs I think was Damon, and 3 clubs was Natural and Forcing, and maybe Guaranteed a 4-card major. And it was a little surprising to see West Carroll only bid 3 no trumps rather than 3 diamonds to my eyes.
Right.
Yes. It's a point that I make very often, that when I'm writing about bidding, that when the responder takes the trouble to introduce a minor suit, you must trust him. He's looking for club support. He's not asking you just to rebid 3 no trumps without even looking. Of course West is entitled to make that decision when he's got 3 clubs but he doesn't have any roughing value. But it's just the same if it goes 1 no trump, 2 diamonds, 2 hearts, and then responder introduces 3 clubs. You should raise if you've got 4 clubs. He shouldn't be bidding clubs unless he can contemplate at least an 11-trick game and maybe a slam. He's asking, can you raise the clubs? If he only wants you to choose between 3 no trumps and 4 of his major, he should bid 3 no trumps instead.
Right.
I'm sort of wondering
in the
what would have happened
in the
in this
Go on,
auction
please.
if, for example, East Tommy Garvied was 1-4-3-5 with King Queen of Hearts perhaps, when suddenly Slam looked pretty good. Would they bid any differently?
maybe yes, but why would you bid 3 no trumps with 3 small spades opposite? Could be completely wrong to be in 3 no.
Maybe we don't know enough about their methods. Maybe 3 clubs was asking, and therefore West didn't have any choice.
Perhaps, yes.
Well, it's not alerted, it's a natural bid. And it's all very well for me or anyone to go on saying he should have raised the clubs, but if he did, they would surely get to 6 clubs and go off. So, for one reason or another, they've judged it very well.
Yeah, but David, you don't need to raise the clubs. You could just bid 3 diamonds as West, couldn't you? To show where your concentration is, so if you had 3 small diamonds and a singleton spade, then you're going to bid 6 clubs when that's correct.
Well, that's absolutely right. Because you've got 3 low spades, you might be nervous that 3 no trumps was right, and you might want to choose between 5 clubs and 3 no trumps, I suppose. But on the other hand, if 3 clubs shows a very good hand, you can expect East to have good covers in spades. Not really space for him not to have, except on the freak hand that you mentioned.
In the closed room, we have Hanlon McGann, North South for Ireland, against Bakshi Gold.
Do you have any feeling, Peter, of which of the 3 England pairs have been playing more boards than the others? Or are they sharing them out equally? I haven't really been following that, and you would have to dig fairly deep into the website to find out the answer, I suppose.
Well, they have been sharing them out pretty evenly. I think one day, Jason Hackett hadn't slept well, so maybe they didn't play as many boards that day. I'm not sure for certain on that, but generally they've been sharing the boards. I think in terms of the butler, Forrest and Robson were a little bit slow off the blocks, but have suddenly been motoring. So we might see them play a few more boards in this final 3-day session. But all 3 pairs have been positive on the butler, so they've all been making a good contribution. I think it's probably also fair to say that, especially at the start, Forrest and Robson were playing mainly against the other top teams, so it's obviously slightly more difficult for them.
We discussed the Butler in depth in this morning's session, Peter, pointing out that Zimmerman and Mouton were second in the whole. Butler, but very likely played nearly all their games against low-ranking teams. Even so, it's very good to come second.
Okay. Forrest will have to hope for the 10 of spades in his partner's hand. If he doesn't have that, he is squeezed. As it is, 11 checks. Sorry, Peter.
I was just going to say, I think it's fair to say that it's likely that Forrest and Robson are going to play most of the games against the higher ranked teams, and would generally be regarded as a world-class pair and slightly ahead of the other two pairs in the England team.
Right. Yes, played the hand well, and Robson and Forrest defended well also. This was the par result, of course. There's a risk for England, of course, that Bakshian goal will bid to 6 clubs. Do they also open 14-16 no trump, Peter, in the other room?
Well, I wasn't sure what their no trump was. Is it not 15-17, or is it maybe 14 plus to 17? If it is 15-17, I couldn't really see any reason to upgrade with a 4-3-3 14, even though you have got Jack 10 of clubs.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. I mean, the key to me, and which East West need to deal with on this hand, is to find the diamond shortage opposite the diamond concentration, because Slam would be very good with the shortage opposite probably either major in the West hand.
So a race by Forrester here looks normal enough. He's too strong to pass. Partner can be pretty strong for his overcall of 2 diamonds.
Pretty sure they're going to bid 3 no trumps now.
I think so. I think South will bid 3 hearts now. Oh, he just did. Yeah, to ask partner for a heart stopper. As we know, it will be. We have Al Hollander in the other room. Goldbachie use variable no trump. Non-vulnerable, good 11-14. Vulnerable 15-17. Nice, good, old-fashioned Ackle bidding. Because I believe that this was Ackle in the beginning, wasn't it? Variable no trump. Of course you remember that, Peter. You were a young man then.
I suppose you were more into the Colonel Buller's style of bidding, Roland, in the 1920s.
The variable trump was actually the standard version of Ackle, but I've never liked that at all, really, because the strength of your no trump affects a lot of other bids, one bids and so on, and you always have to alter your system. You're more or less playing 2 different systems, which isn't very satisfactory. The only reason they did it was they liked playing the weak no trump, but they realized it was unsound when vulnerable, and instead of switching to strong throughout, which the rest of the world has done, they wanted to carry on playing the weak no trump non-vulnerable. And to this day, a lot of club players in the country, maybe the big majority, they play weak no trump throughout, but very few of the top players do.
I mean, it's fair to say
I
also
think you're.
Captain Shinewold
I think you're.
was, well, certainly that what I think Edgar Catlin called Chicken Captain Shinewold was a weak no trump non-vulnerable, and a strong no trump vulnerable. Pretty similar, I imagine, to what Batchy and Gold are playing.
It's just a little bit awkward, maybe not for international players, if say a one diamond bid promises so many cards when vulnerable and so many different number of cards when you're non-vulnerable, and your whole system shifts around a bit. It's not on a steady foundation. Our esteemed England ladies team lost a big championship in the Far East on the very last board when one of them opened a weak no trump vulnerable against Not and went for 1100 and lost the lead.
Right. I'm asked, was the silence in response to Peter Crouch's evaluation of the relative superiority of Forrester Robson on the England team an indication of assent or dissent from you and David Bird? Well, as far as I'm concerned, I agree with Peter. I think that they are the anchor pair.
I am a huge respecter of both Forrester and Robson. They had a fabulous record together when they played together, maybe, when was it, 15 years ago. The fact that maybe Robson's business ventures and his incredibly successful bridge club in Fulham, equally the impact of sponsors, which has kept them out of the game for ages, and England never achieved very much while they were away. They did get to one Olympiad semi-final, which was pretty good. So I'm absolutely delighted to see them back representing us. What's more, they're playing together again, which is absolutely great. And I do regard them, yes, as our best pair by a fair margin.
I think before someone corrects you, David, I would like to say that they did get to an Olympiad final, the team without Forrester Robson, I think, in Beijing. But I mean, both the other pairs are very strong pairs. There's no doubt about that. All I was trying to say was that I think Forrester Robson would be regarded as a world-class pair in the top, maybe, certainly when they were playing 10, 15 years ago, certainly I would have thought in the top dozen pairs in the world. Unsure exactly where they would be now in people's ranking, but certainly they're right up there.
And I think that's not so much because they're a great partnership. They're just incredibly thoughtful card players, both as declarer and defenders. Really put such an amount of effort into the play of every hand, the defence of every hand. Works so hard it would exhaust ordinary mortals. You see Robson sitting there for ages and sometimes think, oh, his thoughts must be going round and round in circles. But it's not true, you know, they just put so much work into the game.
I think what they also do, having been on the receiving end, is put the opponents under an awful lot of pressure in the card play and the bidding.
Of course, we see.
So here,
I was going to say that.
Sorry, David, you go.
I was just going to say that we see a lot more of Forrester and Robson than people do in other countries, and I'm not so sure they would be ranked up that high if people from around the world were inventing their lists of top 10 pairs, because it's only recently that they've come together again, and people may have forgotten their successes in invitational pairs events way back 15, 20 years ago when I was talking about. So I think everyone from their own country really rates the top pair that's around in their country, whether you're from Denmark, Poland, Sweden, wherever, all the fine bridge playing countries, and we may be rating them a bit more highly than others would from other countries at the moment, but if they carry on playing well, then they're going to move up in everyone's eyes.
So here on the run of the diamonds is East Tommy Garvey going to be struggling a little bit with his discards. I know he can throw spades, but it looks like he could be end played at some point.
Well, text commenters discussing whether Forrester should have bid two no trumps rather than three diamonds. They seem to think that he should. I don't think so. I would also bid three diamonds and give partner a chance to bail out there. Because if partner is stronger, I mean, he can always bid three hearts to ask for a heart stopper, which happened here. I don't think there's any need to bid two no trumps with the North hand.
No, I think he was fairly close to a two-heart cubid to show a sound raise to three diamonds. And the two no trumps wouldn't be a mistake, but you are bare in both the black suits, and there were three suits unbid, and South chose to bid two diamonds, so I don't think I would like two no trumps with absolutely nothing in the black suits.
Furthermore, you're looking at King Jack of Hearts, most likely under Ace Queen, right? So if partner can't move over three diamonds, you don't want to be any higher.
Forrester's done well here. He's end-played Garvey, who was caught, and now has to give a trick away to the Jack of Clubs.
Yeah. Well defended.
Sorry, I got it wrong. Garvey still kept a spade. Sorry, I apologise.
Yeah, but he'll get it right regardless. Same thing really, because East promised the king when he led the queen. They play ace and queen for attitude, and king for count or unblock. So he was marked with the king. And if he had those, there was nothing Robson could do. Then he would have defended very, very well.
So, Roland, are you watching the other room in one of your other names? And can you tell us what is happening on board 3?
Yes, I am, and I can tell you that the contract is being played in clubs. But, fortunately for England, only in 5.
So it's going to be a couple of imps away?
Yes.
From an England perspective, that is.
Well, Forrester knows now that Robson is marked with values since West didn't even investigate game, but he's still too weak to act there, with only 7 points, and vulnerable. If Pardon doesn't have 4 spades, he really doesn't like it, so I understand pass. I know that some would reopen.
Well, vulnerable against not on the 7 count. Not many that I know.
I know a few would, David. Yeah, I wouldn't.
So here the spade will go away on the club in due course, and De Clever will lose, I think, three trumps and a diamond.
Yes. One other thing is, of course, when you decide whether you should reopen or not, you should always look at the auction and see, well, my partner may also have 3 hearts, because we don't know if East-West have a fit or not. They could well be on a 5-2 fit. So all that, of course, and the fact that first of all that he only has 7 points will make you pass the hand. It's with the odds.
I forget who England played against this morning, Roland, remind me.
Estonia. The only significant swing we've had so far in all matches is in the match between Germany and Italy, where Italy gained 11 imps on board 1, playing in 4 hearts up at one table and 5 hearts -1 at the other.
Boards so far have been remarkable for the lack of potential action, except for the ones that were slightly worryingly close to a 6 club contract they wouldn't make. Just pretty solid game contracts of little interest.
I wonder how they got to 5 hearts. I was listening yesterday, I think, to a conversation you were having about using the forcing no trump to show a weak 3-card raise, something which I'm pretty anti. I think and you are as well, David. And I wonder whether that may have caused some problem in North-South's evaluation of the hand.
I think it was Peter Lund, actually. He dislikes the forcing no trump. I think he said that. I think it wasn't
Okay,
David.
sorry, I got that wrong. I mean, I'm not a fan at all of putting these weaker 3-card raises through 1 no trump.
The general theory of doing it is that when you do go back to 2 hearts, although partner doesn't know if you've got 2 hearts or 3, on the hands where you do have 3, he does know that you're very, very weak, or you would have raised directly. So the hands in the 2 different bands, either more points with a doubleton heart or fewer points with 3, have approximate equal value in support of hearts and shouldn't cause you to go wrong.
Well, sometimes they're less points and only a doubleton heart as well. So you seem to have quite a wide range.
Yes, I suppose I'm talking about the days when I used to play precision and you could pass on the bad hands with a doubleton heart because partner was limited, hadn't been able to open 1 club, so you didn't have to bid on a load of rubbish. But now, of course, people are more inclined to bid on rubbish if they think partner's weak, so that they can shut the opponents out from their rightful dues.
Forrester and Robson defended well here, I have to say, but it wasn't enough. They got all they could possibly get against 2 hearts. Ah, okay. Are you going to write something from this match also, David, or can you relax a bit more? Because I know how
at the moment, no. At the moment, I'm relaxing a bit, a bit too much. Anyone who came in the room would think, "Is the old fool asleep?" No, you only one report a day, yeah, and I'd like to do it on the first session.
Here we have the two-way one club in Carrot Club. And of course, 9 times out of 10, it's the 11-13 balanced hand.
Whilst Ace-King Doubleton's not a good holding, this must have been reasonably close to an upgrade. Ace-Jack 10 to 4 is a really good holding, and Jack 10 winning clubs. Given that people tend to upgrade without any excuse.
You can see the value of transfer responses here. I was just going to say that Carroll won't be able to find a bid because he couldn't bid 2 diamonds forcing, didn't have any heart support, didn't have a negative double. But because he's playing transfers, he can bid 2 clubs to show the diamonds with the intention of passing 2 diamonds if that's what partner bids. So that's one of the big advantages of playing transfers over an overcall.
Very unlucky for Robson to find partners. 8 of partners, 9 high card points in diamonds of all suits, where the opponents have bid and raced diamonds.
That's unlucky, but the 2-2 spade break and the ace of hearts on side makes up for it.
It does, and the contract will make.
Can I ask you if you would have doubled here? I mean, to me, it appears that the likelihood is that it might go 1 down, and the game is not going to be substantial, given that the opponents are non-vulnerable as well.
I think I would have doubled also, Peter. I have to say, I don't expect that they are going to redouble. So yes, I am going to double.
Right.
I mean,
well, I wouldn't double.
I have 3 tricks in my hand, and I did have a partner a bit freely. It's not unreasonable to think that he has a trick.
So if he has got a trick, you gain an extra 50 effectively, but getting 100 instead of 50, given the opponents are non-vulnerable. And if it doesn't work, you're going to lose 170 for the double contract. What I was trying to say is I think the double is more to be recommended when you suspect they're going to go 2 down.
Right.
Can I come in now? I think the double is absurd, I'm sorry, because it's an insult to Robson. He wasn't making an advanced sacrifice, he was bidding against a fairly weak auction for the part score, and he's jumped all the way to 4 spades, and you know that the trumps are breaking favourably. So I'm sorry, but I just regard that as a very bad double. Just he's got ace, king, ace, and said, I thought you'd have a trick for your bidding partner. Shouldn't be listening to his partner's bidding. He may have king, queen to 6 diamonds for all you know. You should be listening to the opponent's bidding. And Robson thinks he can make 4 spades. That's how I say it anyway.
Okay, I don't agree with you. And may I add that the contract could have been defeated. 8 of hearts.
Who's going to find that defence, to be honest? That would be brilliant to lead the ace of hearts and another heart playing for this sort of position.
Only we would.
Or maybe in one of your books, David. maybe one of the weaker players would find this defence against the abbot.
Well,
Yes.
I know a lot of people suggest that sort of hand to me, but I mean, you don't want people shaking your heads and say, well, that's just ridiculous, no one would ever do that. So you have to step very carefully what sort of plays you put in, even in fiction, not just to have something that happens to work. It's just a delicate business to make it match the characters involved. But I think against a freely bid game, you should tend to double when you've got unexpected bad news. I mean, say Garvey had 4 trumps to the Queen Jack. That would be better than Ace King Doubleton, because they knew they were missing the Ace King and the Ace of Hearts when they decided to bid 4 hearts.
I think Forrest is probably going to ruff the diamond, take heart pitch on the Ace King of Clubs, and then play another spade.
Yes, I agree with that, but on the other hand, he knows the Ace of Hearts is on side for many reasons. He would get a hard switch at trick 2 if Garvey didn't have the Ace of Hearts. I'm asked, why is the Ace of Heart lead so odd? North has long spades and is not likely to have top honor in hearts. Well, it's a bit double dummy, I have to say. I don't think you can find many players around the world who would lead the Ace of Hearts. And if they do, it's because either that they're a weaker player, because more often than not will it cost a trick. And even if they do lead the Ace of Hearts, and when they see the King in dummy, they're going to switch.
Yes, it would be a very bad lead, because you might set up heart trick in the dummy for a discard from declarer's hand. Also, you've got no reason to expect that North is going to have 3 hearts, say, and leave partner with a singleton, because he didn't raise the hearts, he bid spades. So North has advertised shortage in hearts, could well be a singleton, and leading the ace you could set up a discard on the king. So that's just about the last lead you would choose from that hand.
So here, 2 diamonds is either a weak 2 in either major, a bad weak 2, not good enough to the major opening, or 17 to 20, 4-4-4-1, any 4-4-4-1.
Right.
3 no trumps is makeable.
2 no trump by East here. I think one should get in with 2 no.
2 no trumps looks just normal to me. I can't imagine any of the top players here not doing that.
And I can already predict that we will see the routine play from an expert player, is that Garvey will unblock the 9 of diamonds as soon as he can, in case South is dealt 10 to 4 or Jack to 4. That's routine play for the expert.
Nope,
And again.
Forrester, by bidding 2 spades, has promised the ability to play higher in hearts, and he's decided to look for partner suit rather than to lead his own suit. He expects partner to be short in his own suit, probably at most 2 spades.
I was saying that you'd find club players who would double 3 no trumps on the North cards. telling everyone how many points they had, and their partner had opened the bidding vulnerable and thought they would have more than a minimum 5 count. Again, ridiculous as I see it, because he's going to have a minimum when the opponents bid 2 no trumps, 3 no trumps. So quite rightly, Forrester hasn't doubled.
So the 9 of diamonds should come next.
Forrester did have the option of bidding 3 clubs over 2 diamonds directly, but that would have been constructive in their methods, and to be honest, opposite one of Robson's bad weak 2s, that's certainly not enough.
No, it's more likely that the opponents would have a game on, as they have.
Oh, that is a surprise. Sorry, my prediction was wrong. I think this is a clear error.
He can play the 9 on the second. Play the 9 on the second round and come back if necessary.
Oh yeah, but he does have the entries. Oh, sorry, he has plenty of entries. Yes, yes. Sorry about that. I was just so delighted to see that combination, because every time I see it, I say, well, remember to unblock.
He'll play the 8 now, I would guess. Robson's lead of the 7 of hearts has sort of given away the heart suit. Not that it was a problem for Garvey, because remember, Forrester did 2 spades to show interest in playing at a higher level in hearts.
Doesn't matter so much, because they did have 9 tricks assured. On another deal, it might have been very, very expensive, the way it turned out that he could read the heart suit so well.
Do you remember before I said something about Germany and Italy gaining 11 imps on board 1? Since then, Germany had 2 big swings, and they're now leading 23 to 11. And one of the swings was in that non-slam hand, if you like, the 6 clubs with 2 losers, really. But Germany managed to make it against Italy. What do you think, guys? Isn't it just a little sad to see Italy second to last?
Yeah, it is for me, because I used to worship the Italian blue team. They were just so fabulous and inspiration to anyone who was hoping to do well at bridge, even if they were playing in some humble club game. And Peter Lunt put in onto the tap-in commentary the superb history of the Italian bridge team in qualifying for the Bermuda Bowl, the huge number of times that they've won it, and to see them struggling here is sad indeed, yes.
So here, 1 no trump, 14 to 16. Would you consider this normal, a psych, or maybe just an option?
I find it's quite okay as far as I'm concerned.
I'm wondering whether part of the reason for doing it for East-West would be that 1 diamond past one of the major past 2 clubs for them would be either way. You know, may well be longer clubs and shorter diamonds, so maybe he thinks 1 no trump's a better description of the hand.
That's a pretty likely reading of the situation. I agree.
So here, East has a really interesting decision. His partner's 14-16. He's bid 2 clubs with the intention of raising partner's major, or maybe bidding 2 spades over 2 diamonds, and 2 hearts has been bidden as left and come back to him. I'm expecting that double would not be penalty, so that's not an option. So his options are either pass or 2 spades. I don't really see any other option.
2 spades looks favourite. That would give West the option of raising if he had a super hand. with 3 card support.
He does have the maximum with 3 card support, but I don't think he likes the King of Hearts anymore.
Well, I don't know, Roland. The ace is likely to be on side.
Yeah. I know Peter would also open one no trump. I know him too well. Mere mortals would open 1 diamond and 2 clubs next. Or perhaps raise 1 spade to 2 spades.
Actually, Roland, I'm not a particular person who favours distorting 1 no trump openers. The only singleton that I ever consider really for 1 no trump openings is the singleton king, so this is certainly one of those. But while I understand Carroll and Garvey doing this for systemic reasons, I would have opened this hand 1 diamond.
I was just thinking, Roland, how awful it must be to be a mere mortal.
Right. Hannah McGann stop in 2 spades on board 6. So major swing coming to England there.
What was the auction, Roland, that made them stop in 2 spades?
I don't know, but I only got this short message from Al, but I'm sure he'll tell me how the bidding went in a minute. Anyway, we know that this will be 9 imps to England, right? 590 minus 170.
So here, maybe there was a misunderstanding here, because I don't really understand double at all, unless it was suggesting penalties. And obviously, if it wasn't suggesting penalties, then it's for me it's either pass or 2 spades from the East cards.
It's not normal to double under the heart length, is it? So I'm not surprised Carroll took it for takeout. I was thinking that Garvey might think that 3 diamonds doesn't look very good, and he'll take a pot at 3 no trumps, and I was going to have to check up if that had any chance. If they make 5 diamonds and 2 spades and a heart, they're getting close.
Yeah, looks good to me. I don't see any way they can defeat 3 no trumps.
No, so I was spared the pleasure of seeing East rebid 3 no trumps with a sigh.
Now I know the auction and 2 spades on board 6. East opened 1 club, South overcalled 1 heart, and North bid a forcing 1 spade. The South bid 2 clubs and North bid 2 spades.
And was 2 clubs a good hand there, or was it natural?
That I don't know. Probably
It's marked as conventional. It's marked as conventional, so I guess it's a spade raise. Well, he would raise the spades with 10, 9, 1 and avoid diamond, wouldn't he? So it must be a spade bid.
Yeah, in that case, I think North has been quite conservative, rebidding 2 spades over 2 clubs. I can't see why he couldn't bid 2 diamonds on the way.
It's the sort of hand where the 6th spade is worth such a lot to be in a 6-3 fit rather than a 5-3 fit where you would have 3 certain trump losers.
Yeah, but 2 clubs wasn't necessarily a spade race, because Al tells me that it was forcing with 12 plus high card points. Either 3 card support for spades or balanced with no club stop.
Okay, but then why could North not bid 2 diamonds and see if he can find out a bit more?
I suppose he could have.
Balanced with no club stopper. What's he meant to have? A lot of points then. And how's North meant to react if he doesn't even know if whether you've got spade support or not?
Don't shoot the messenger. Just
I'm not shooting the message. I'm querying the message in a tone of voice that suggests count me out from playing that system.
Well, David, I do agree with you that it is quite good to shoot Roland the messenger, but it's not his fault on this occasion.
Yesterday the messenger was telling us that 4 hearts was either natural or a cubid, and I attempted to shoot the messenger in that case and turned out I was right.
So on this
Mind you,
hand,
it wasn't
how many
right.
tricks is he going to make in 3 diamonds?
Sorry, we were talking on top of each other. I didn't even hear your question there, Peter.
I was just saying, how many tricks is he actually going to make in 3 diamonds?
A good number.
10?
Well, he might only make 9. I can see a possibility where he might end up losing 2 clubs, a heart and a spade.
Meanwhile, I have some useless statistics for you. In round 1, the teams from the B group outscored the A teams by 103 to 77 VPs.
And will you be keeping that up for every round, Roland?
Only if someone thinks it's a good idea, because I didn't do any work myself. Got it from Peter Lund. He loves. He should be an American, really. I think they love all sorts of statistics, and so does Peter.
It's not true that when we look at the home and visiting teams that all the home teams come from one group and the visiting teams from another, is it?
Another swing. Sorry, I was just going to say that another swing would be coming on board number 7, but you can see that for yourself now. 3 no trumps played in this room, right, with 11 tricks, and backseat gold in the other room stopped in 2 diamonds.
Yeah, their bidding was fair enough. Once East had decided to double the natural 2 club opening rather than bid 2 no trumps with only ace 9 3 and a 16 count, then the 2 diamond response can't be faulted. So it was a good bid for the 2 club precision opener. Not precision, but precision style.
Yeah, I suppose that East's options were to bid 2 no trumps straight away or to follow this action, because if he'd have doubled and then bid 2 no trumps over 2 diamonds, he'd have been showing somewhere in the region of sort of 19-20, I guess.
So he's relying on partner jumping the bidding to reach a game. How do you think double and 2 no trumps are compared?
Well, I think the danger of obviously bidding two no trumps is quite often North has got a 6-card suit and is going to have an entry, so I can understand why he doubled. But obviously he's taking it the low road, and he has to realise that that's what he's doing. I think he was a little bit unfortunate personally. So here, one diamond was natural and always 5, or 4-4-4-1 less than 17, and 2 diamonds is inverted, forcing to 3 diamonds.
Germany have established a big lead against Italy and overtaken England to go into third place.
Yes. Where would you like to be as North-South? It's difficult to stop Robson once partner has opened, isn't it? But you can't really make any game. You do have the values for game, and you just can't make it.
Well, 3 no trumps on a non-spade lead for by North.
True. So much for that. But 2-0 is non-forcing, isn't it? It must be.
No. 2 diamonds is forcing to 3 diamonds. They can't stop below 3 diamonds.
I see. Okay. Well, and correction here, right? Because it's true that that 3 no can't make on a spade lead, but 5 diamonds is on. Spade will go away on the 3rd heart, and you'll only lose a club and a diamond.
Very tough, I would say, wouldn't you?
Can't hear you, Roland. I think that's the same listener as yesterday who had the same problem. I don't think it's an overall problem.
I was going to say it's difficult to blame either North or South for not bidding 5 diamonds and bidding 3 no trumps, or if you think they should be bidding 5 diamonds, what do you think either of them should have done differently?
I didn't say that it was easy to bid 5 diamonds. Just said that they can make it.
I know that it's fashionable to bid 2 no trumps with Queen 1 in the other side's suit, because you want to be declarer when partner's got an honour, but I don't particularly like 2 no trumps on Queen without a stopper in hearts. Presumably he could have doubled, could he, to keep the bidding going? But no, it's forcing anyway, so maybe he should have passed and seen what Forrester did. If Forrester rebids no trumps, then they'd have played it the successful way round, as it seems.
That's right, David. He could have passed 2 hearts forcing. It was 2 diamonds was forcing to 3 diamonds, so he had that available, and it would have worked much better to have passed 2 hearts on this hand for the reason you've just given.
So, that is another very worrying board for England supporters. 2 ways in which it can misfire.
So an exciting hand here. 1 club from Forrester is just 2+ clubs, non-forcing. Robson will respond 1 diamond to show hearts.
Good news for England women. They're up by 25 against a strong team from the Netherlands who had been leading all the way. So England now 10 VPs clear of Italy in second place.
So two spades natural and forcing to game. And Robson's not really enjoying this auction with his current hand.
Two spades in most systems is game forcing, so it's a very, very powerful bid indeed, and a jump shift by the opener is the type of bid which is frequently misused by inexperienced players, thinking, well, I can't make a minimum rebid on 17 or 18 points. But of course that number of points doesn't guarantee you a game facing an ill-fitting or minimum response, so you just should bid at the minimum level, which is what's called a wide-ranged rebid, and partners got to allow for the fact that you may have quite a decent hand.
Yes, it is a misfit, of course, with diamonds not behaving, and it's not looking too good. Unless you get a spade lead. Well, Carroll may lead a spade. He knows dummy has 4, of course.
It's actually a horrible hand to lead from, isn't it? What would you lead?
It's terrible. It's terrible. I have Singleton in the unbid suit, so they're most of the time they're loaded in the unbid suit. I wouldn't lead my Singleton. North has shown 6 clubs and 4 spades.
He may try a spade.
Yeah, that's what I think, and that will run round to Robson's 10. Or if he decides to let the 8 hold. Then he'll set up clubs.
He's probably not going to lead a heart, which is declare his first bid suit, because his partner could have overcalled a heart over one club as a passed hand with a decent 5-card suit, so that doesn't look right.
He's led the king to try and pin a Singleton 10, say, in the south hand, expecting south to be short of spades. Good effort.
I know declarers who would say, does that promise the queen? Right. Ace of spades and 4 rounds of clubs. How many tricks does he have? 5 club tricks, 2 spades is 7, and 2 diamonds is 9. No problem at all.
Should he be unblocking the 10 on this trick, making Carroll think that he has pinned a Singleton 10?
He might as well. That also sets up a finesse later, David, in case you know he wants to take it. You see, so he shouldn't lead.
I had noticed that, Roland. That's the purpose of unblocking it.
Yeah, and I know you've seen it. But as I said many times, we should assume that the majority of spectators are not expert players.
Well, I'm very happy in that case.
Have you not read David's new book, Finessing Made Easy?
No, finessing is much more difficult than people think, so I wouldn't write a book called that.
Well, you're over 100 now, David, aren't you? Is that right for books?
124, yes. Why haven't we seen a book from the great Mr. Pitiful?
because nobody would read it because it would be on some esoteric bidding stuff which most people wouldn't like to have a look at.
Going for the clubs, as Roland suggested, which would work against a 4-3 break or any two of the Jack 10-9 falling doubleton. Guess he's not going to throw too many hearts away because he doesn't know which defender's going to win the fourth club.
Jack of clubs won't worry him. He's seen all that before.
What does that signal of the seven of diamonds mean? Does that tell Forrester he thinks he's going to make it?
I don't know.
There's a vaguely humorous story that was going the rounds 30 or 40 years ago when Omar Sharif played with the Italian blue team. When the dummy went down, then declarer would either say thank you or grazie or merci, and those were all coded words for it's cold, oh I might be able to make this, or it's absolutely hopeless, you see. So on one occasion the dummy went down and declarer said grazie, and the dummy said grazie, how can it be when I give you a dummy like this?
Funny. So, declarer has his contract now, and there's no way the opponents can take enough tricks, even if a spade finesse loses. So this is a free spade finesse.
That's good, it's a potentially tricky hand out of the way. So they did well. Not that we're expecting a swing at this level.
Some options for here, Robson, at the end of the hand to try and make an extra trick. And play either east or west for the ace of hearts.
Yeah. He had to decide that. Well done to take 11 tricks. Same contract and spade lead on board 9 in the other room. So that was a flat board. The best England could hope for.
Surprising bidding on board 9. It was 1 club from north and 3 no trumps from south on a 2-2-5-4-13 count. Very lucky for England. A lot of players would open 3 diamonds in the third seat with those major suit holdings, but Forrester would be perfectly willing to risk that if he needed to, but he may think that it's going to be harder over 1 diamond, particularly if partner starts responding, and it's not so easy for East-West to judge if they've got game values.
Peter, do they ignore the double? Well, say South hadn't been a passed hand. Would 1 heart be forcing by an unpassed hand?
Yes, 1 heart would have been forcing, yes. They don't play any sort of transfers like redouble as hearts, which would have been perhaps the all-free Robson style.
East's second double is for takeout, which all the textbooks explain very carefully, because otherwise some beginners are uncertain about it.
Can you imagine West feeling here, really enjoying this auction?
Yeah, he just has to smile and bid 2 spades. 2 spades. Have you seen this?
Well, I think there's a possibility, given it's not game and non-vulnerable, that he might even view to pass. Partner showing a very strong hand, he may think that the disadvantage of bidding 2 spades.
Goodness me, I wouldn't do that.
Bid 2 spades like a man, Peter. There you go. Carroll is a man.
Well, I think it's slightly different here, Roland. A very different situation here, because he's going to be worried that pass would be a penalty pass, and he certainly doesn't want the opponents to play 2 diamonds redoubled. But 2 diamonds doubled is slightly less worrying.
I can't believe it's a penalty pass when his diamonds lie under the guy who's rebid 1 diamond and 2 diamonds. Surely that doesn't apply to that seat.
Well, I didn't say it should be, David. I just said maybe he believes that. Otherwise, why would he bid 2 spades?
Well, that's a valid point. I was going to say that the redouble had freed him from the need to bid, and he didn't have to bid 2 spades, so I agree with you there.
I'm asked what does the redouble show? It should show values, right? Then you may, of course, argue, well, does he have values? He did bid 1 heart already.
Well, I think it's fair to say if Robson had passed, it would have maybe been more awkward for East-West, because let's say Carroll bids 2 spades, as you were suggesting. I mean, Garvey's probably not going to pass that. I assume he's going to raise that.
Yeah.
I think he might pass it after making 2. He's got to remember his partner didn't even bid 1 spade the first time round, and that wouldn't show much more than just having 4 cards in the spade suit. So I'm not certain that he would bid again over 2 spades if South had omitted to redouble.
Well, my guess is he would have bid 3 spades. That's what I would guess. You don't need a huge amount from partner. Obviously, the King of Hearts may not be well placed.
But he's not certain to have 4 spades. That's the main thing against it. He may hold length in either or both of the red suits. Not so attractive for declarers. Came within an inch of saying something absolutely absurd there. Just rescued myself.
I thought there was something wrong with my connection.
Something wrong with the alertness of the commentator, I'm afraid.
Don't worry, David. I did one of those. I think yesterday with Roland, I thought the person who had played at trick 2 was on lead and didn't understand why they'd led. I wasn't awake at all. But Roland quite kindly pointed out that he didn't understand what I was talking about.
In a
Well, that
tactful
needn't
way.
be, but that needn't be your fault, Peter. Just because I don't understand it, it's not necessarily your fault.
Well, it was in that occasion, Roland. It certainly was. So I wasn't blaming you. It was very kind of you to point out, so I could sort of humbly eat a bit of pie and be quiet for a few moments.
Well,
Right,
the thing to remember
wondering,
is it does. You go.
I was just going to say, how many tricks do we think Declarer is going to make in 2 spades here?
Seven. Unless Robson gives him the chance to double finesse clubs by playing a club now, but why on earth would he do that?
Well, it sort of looks normal to play a diamond now, doesn't it?
That's what I mean. Diamond will work. Even a heart would be okay, I think, as long as partner has a trump. What can declarer do? If he discards a club, then your partner gets the 8 of spades. I think 7 tricks. Phew, this was good news. I've been looking at the Denmark result, all through the session. It was really sorry reading. Behind 11 to nothing, 19 to nothing, 21 to nothing. All of a sudden, 24-21 to Denmark. And in case you were not here this morning, we may have Danish spectators, of course, David, so I'd like to say that Denmark now playing four-handed because one of the players had to go back. Of course, his kid was taken to hospital. Sorry, David.
Just going to mention that Germany have extended their lead against the weakened Italian team, and as a result have moved up into 2nd place. But of course some of these rankings are going to vary according to whether you play strong teams at the beginning of the final round robin or the weaker teams.
That's very sad news, Roland. One of the Danish players having to go home.
Yes, it was a kid actually with fever cramps and now in a respirator. That's sad.
That's right, nothing worse as far as a parent is concerned.
As far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm concerned, they could stop the event now because Denmark moved into 6th place.
Well, seeing as they're doing so well against Estonia, I expect Denmark is hoping to get another 5 or 6 victory points in this match.
So here,
Yeah,
Harald and Magin will open two clubs.
2 clubs precision style, yes.
Double
11
Forrester.
11 to 16 with 6 clubs or 5 clubs and a 4 major. Good question from a spectator. I can pass that on to Peter Crouch because he knows Forrester very well. The question is, I'm watching YouTube. Is Forrester ever smiling?
Yes, he smiles. I mean, I would say he probably doesn't smile that much at the table, but he's quite jovial away from the table. You know, when we're going through the set, maybe having a meal afterwards. I think I would put it down to concentration level. When he's concentrating hard at the table, perhaps smiling doesn't come naturally. Maybe not to a lot of people.
Right. A 3 space by Forrester here is not game invitational, really, because he could double 3 hearts if he wanted partner to cooperate. So it's kind of competitive, but Robson has a pretty nice hand. He likes his hand because of the singles and heart.
Four spades is going to go down on the cards because both finesses are offside.
But the cards lie quite well for 4 hearts, don't they? So 4 hearts might not have made, but it certainly has chances, so you wouldn't mind going 1 off, I dare say, as insurance.
No.
But on a diamond lead or a diamond switch, it could be 2 down.
Wow, and it is doubled as well, yeah. We've seen a certain caution in penalty doubles elsewhere.
Not the Irish. They don't hold back, David. You know that. When we saw that by Garvey earlier also in this room, didn't we? When he doubled 4 spades. It made, I agree, but it hasn't put him off. I'm not scared. Well, I'll double them again.
You may think that Robson's 4 spades is fairly outrageous, seeing as he has nothing to spare. But the point is that West has shown long clubs and the opponents have found a big fit in hearts. So he's hoping that North-South can do well with having 2 strong suits, the spades and the diamonds, working in harness.
Well, all you've got to do, really, I suppose, is imagine that the king of spades is on side, and then suddenly it's not such a bad bid in inverted commas. So I think it's you know, I don't really blame Robson at all here. It's unfortunate. There's a possibility if they don't find the diamond switch that he might get out for 1 down, and given the opponents are making 4 hearts, that would be a pickup. And even if he goes 2 down for 500, that's only 80 away against 4 hearts making.
Do you think 4 hearts would have made?
Yeah, I think it would.
Well, what would Forrester lead? Even if he leads the jack of clubs, Robson can't get in.
East is declarer.
Sorry, David. I didn't realise. What would you think Robson would lead?
Queen of spades.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it looks like he just plays
what do you-
simple line and plays heart. What can Forrester do?
Well, he doesn't even have to play heart. He can just play. Oh, sorry. Yeah. When South produces the queen, yes, ace of hearts, heart. It will make. Absolutely. So you can relax, David. Four hearts would make. So it can't cost a fortune. This. It will probably cost 500. Now that Carol found the
Well,
diamonds.
they've got a bid to four hearts, haven't they?
Yeah, I agree with David. I think bidding four hearts is very good for Ireland, East-West, but I think given that they had got to four hearts and two clubs gave them momentum to get there, then it's not such a bad result. But I think the worry is that they won't be in four hearts at the other table.
I've noticed that on competitive deals, Robson often seems to bid when I wouldn't. And I'm sure on average he does better, a hell of a lot better than I do on competitive hands where I reckon I get below par results. But sometimes his bidding does surprise me, and I've seen him bid 5 over 5 sometimes when it goes badly wrong, and you think, wow, how can a good player do that? But of course, that's the sort of bid that Peter was mentioning early on when he says that they apply pressure on the opponents.
I think you're absolutely right, David. I mean, he does bid a lot more than virtually anybody I know in competitive auctions, on the basis that the opponents get put under pressure. They often seem to drop a trick, or he makes an extra trick in the play. That's the way he enjoys playing.
England will likely get some over-trick imps on board number 10, where Hanlon as North is in 3-note trumps. East led a spade to the 10 and dummy King Ace, and Declarer played the 8 of clubs immediately. He didn't touch any of his honours, just played a club immediately.
It might not have been that good if one of the clubs had been 5-2, I guess, and one of the defenders had Doubleton honour, either Jack 9, 10 9, or Jack 10, but it kept the whole hand fluid, I imagine, from North-South point of view. So the text commentators here are wondering if East could possibly be void in diamonds because he played the 2 of clubs at trick 1, which would have been suit preference in most people's agreements. But that would mean that Carol West would have been 6-4 in clubs and diamonds and had raised hearts, so likely void in spades, and East would have 5 spades. Quite unusual distribution, but I suppose it's possible that East could be 5-6-0-2.
Yes, but Robson also knows that the play of the 2 of clubs could be coincidental, Peter, because West has at least 5 clubs and could easily have 6.
Well, not only that, he might choose to play it because he had the king of diamonds.
Yes, absolutely. I was just saying that's maybe what he's thinking about. You know, what is the possibilities here? I think Roland's right though. If he had king 2 or queen 2, even if he didn't have the king of diamonds, would he be willing to put the king or queen on trick 1?
There is a way of letting partner know that your card is suit preference that was employed by a since deceased member of the IBM Bridge Club. You press it really hard with your thumb and move it towards the centre of the table until it's almost under partner's nose.
Is that a variation of the Alcatraz coup?
Not quite that bad. No. Shouldn't speak ill of the dead.
That's not standard Danish signals, is it?
Well, it's one of the reasons they have the screen across the diagonal.
Exactly. Yeah, we usually play singletons with the left hand rather than the right, Peter. Don't you do that?
I'm only teasing you, Roland.
I'm teasing you.
Surely it depends on whether you're left-handed or not.
Yeah, Robson must go 2 down here. And England did gain a couple of imps on board 10 as predicted. Good to have Al Hollander in the closed room. He's doing all the work, sending messages to me. He knows how lazy I am.
Well, you can get him to tell us what they're in on board 12 for starts, because that's going to be fairly important.
Well, they usually play 11 after 10, David, so it will be a while.
Well, what are they in on 11 then?
I don't know. Oh, 11, oh, yes, they are in 2 diamonds doubled. Ace of clubs.
And was the auction that I predicted might happen without the redouble?
Pass past 1 diamond double, pass. 1 heart by West, 2 diamonds, double by East, all pass.
So you'd have bid 2 spades like a man, would you, Roland, in West on that auction?
Yes, yes. How many tricks do you take against 2 diamonds doubled?
Maybe 5 defensive tricks. That looks like that to me. What do you think?
Yeah. Bid 2 spades like a man.
How many times have all of us heard people say, doesn't matter doubling 2 diamonds, even if they make it, it's not doubled into game. How true that is, but it's very rarely a good board when you concede 180 or 380 or 580, whatever, on a part score hand.
So an exciting hand here. North-South can obviously make 4 spades. Don't want to get any higher.
Would you have doubled as South here? suppose so, yes. Sorry.
Yes, I would, of course.
Yeah, sorry, of course. And 4 spades.
Maybe considering 4 clubs, but maybe just lacking a few high cards for that.
Maybe.
It's a very good illustration of why the double is right, because the spades might get shut out if you just bid diamonds.
Yeah. Don't have many points, but they have 10 tricks, although they have to lose 2 spade tricks. And here's a report for you. Spectator wanted to report that Forrester smiled.
Was that a psychic smile when Robson went 2 down in 4 spades doubled?
Yeah, it was actually when Robson said it was pretty unlucky to find both kings offside. And there he was with his mellow smile, you see. Not sarcastic at all. It was genuine.
No, to be fair, they
Well,
have a great relationship at the table, Forrester and Robson. I think they're both very pleased to be playing together at this level again.
Every time we commentate on Forrester, I always tell everyone how he's a reformed character and very mellow and pleasant now, and that's largely as a result of what Peter here has told me about it. Also Mark Smith, who played a Gold Cup match against him and found him very pleasant there as well. And how important that is, because Forrester ran through a bundle of partners early in his career and had a very bad reputation, and of course you can't perform at your best unless your partner smiles every time you make a stupid mistake. That's the ideal anyway. Such partners are hard to find.
Are you suggesting he smiled quite a lot when he played with me, David?
You said it. I wouldn't dare.
Nah.
Sure, he regarded you as a very, very promising player.
Thank you for saying so, David, but maybe not.
Well, you lasted for quite a while, didn't you? You played many tournaments together, domestic tournament.
Yeah, I played quite a few with him. I also used to play a bit with him when I was potentially playing with somebody else. We were in a team of 5. Right, so here we are with Forrester just trying to work out whether he can avoid losing 3 spade tricks on certain layouts.
Yeah. But he won't lose them. He will only lose 2 tricks. It's okay. And becomes more and more unlikely that we'll see Italy next year at the Bermuda Bowl. It's really sad to see that they're behind 53 imps against Germany now. Rock bottom and 49 VPs from 6th place.
Do you know if Angelini is playing?
I know Angelini is playing, yes, but so are Versace and Lauria as a pair at one table. Actually, it's the strongest lineup, more or less, because we have Angelini playing with Samantha in the open room and Versace and Lauria in the closed.
What repercussions do you imagine this will have in Italy? I mean, it will be terrible result for them. But anyway, on to, so I was going to just say, Forrest was trying to find out how to avoid losing 3 spade tricks here. Maybe that's sort of something to talk about after this hand. See here, if Garvey has the stiff ace of spades and Forrester were to play a spade to the king now, he would go down.
What happens if he ducks a spade? We know what happens, but perhaps it's best play to duck a spade now from both hands.
Yes, that's a very good point.
Well, or to lead towards the jack earlier, I was thinking.
Well, maybe that would lose to the stiff queen in the west seat. Or would you duck when the 9 or 10 came up?
Well, East has the long club, so he's more likely to have a singleton that side, I thought.
If he plays a spade, he will duck when West produces a 9. I'm pretty sure he will. Catering for Queen 10-9 in the East hand. Here we will see it. Brownie
Well
point for me.
Brownie point for you, and much more importantly, plus 620 for Forrester.
But hey, he could not go wrong, could he? Now,
So,
on that 2-diamond... Yes, on that 2-diamond doubled hand, Hanlon was in a position to make 2 diamonds doubled with an over trick, but he played West for King, Queen to 4, and as a result, he went 1 down.
So perhaps I should be saying to you that West passed like a man at the other table after 2 diamonds was doubled.
Absolutely marvellous pass. I must look out for it in future.
I expect to see that happening more often when you're at the table, David.
If nothing else, it's been great fun commentating with you guys, I have to say. I'm not sure about our listeners, but I think it's been wonderful.
So here, am I right in assuming that Carroll and Garvey do play sort of 2 diamonds as hearts and 2 hearts as a spade raise? That's what, yes they do. That's what Forrester and Robson do as well. And so 2 diamonds here shows like a 2/1 in Ackle style response. So 3 clubs was not being shy.
Perhaps West will bid 3 hearts now instead of showing the 2 suitor to just get across the main promise of game in his hand.
Yeah, and
well, they may have a systemic issue here. I mean, what was 3 hearts over a spade? So maybe 3 hearts now would be a hand that was different from a direct 3 hearts over 1 spade, which they probably play as invitational. So maybe the issue about bidding 3 hearts here now is it would be quite strongly encouraging, and maybe Carroll doesn't think he's got that hand, or maybe even forcing.
Yeah, but if 3 diamonds now is a suit, he doesn't really have the values for it, because that must be game forcing.
I mean, I think credit Forrester at the moment with his free club overcall. I'm sure that wouldn't have been chosen by a lot of people. It's a sort of bid I would expect to see Robson make quite regularly, but Forrester's slightly more conservative in this area.
Yes, but if North had passed and East had rebid 2 spades, West would surely have the same rebid problem that he's got now, so I don't see that 3 clubs should have caught him unawares with his hand. He must have had a plan for it, which begin with 2 diamonds.
Maybe he was going to take the view that he was going to pass 2